Good morning, everyone. We are about to begin the 2024 Rent Registry webinar. I'll start with a little introduction. My name is Monica Velarde. I'm an analyst for the City of San Jose's Housing Department Rent Stabilization Program. And today I'll be giving a live rent registry demo on how to register for the 2024 registration period. For today's webinar, everyone will be put on mute. As I go through the slides, you can submit questions through the question and answer box, and my colleague Madi is available to answer them. As a background to this webinar, I just wanted to begin with the purpose of the Rent Registry. The Rent Registry was launched in 2018, and it allows the city's rent stabilization program to collect data on rent stabilized apartments, monitor changes in tenancy and rents, and track allowable rent increases. The information enhances the ability of city staff to monitor compliance with the apartment rent ordinance. Property owners will need to update the information in the Rent Registry during the time selected by the city on an annual basis. Property owners have 2 months to register their apartments. This registration period began on October 1, and the deadline to re-register your apartments is November 30th. To successfully register, property owners will need to log into the rent registry accounts and provide updates on tenancies, including rent increases or decreases, vacancies, new move-ins, or no changes. We do have other resources available on our website. We have a user guide available in 3 languages. We have short video tutorials in 3 languages. We also have some FAQs there. And then this year, we're also providing 2 in-person workshops where staff can assist you with the registration process. We understand that not everyone is the best with computers, so we offer a paper registration form also, which is located on the website. Or we can email, mail, or, if you come in person, we can give those to you upon request. This is an example of what the credentials typically look like when we mail them out or when we email them to you. So if you do not already have an account set up, you will need to create one using your city-issued credentials. If you do not already have your credentials, please call or email us or visit us in person. Because you cannot register your units until you've created an account. But once you have your account, you'll be able to input the required information to complete the registration of your property. Next, I'm going to log into the Rent Registry website to show you all how to register your units for this registration period. The options for registering each unit are no change. So if the information has not changed since your last registration, you can register it as no change. There's rent increase or decrease, new tenant, vacant, owner occupied, and then this correct and error, it's not an option to register, but it's an option to correct a registration, your last registration, if there was an error such as the incorrect dollar amount. So now I will log into the Rent Registry. Okay. So this is what the main page looks like. And over here is that customer support tab that I had mentioned earlier, where you can find the user's guide. Also the registration forms if you decide you do not want to register online, and then videos also that show you step by step how to register. So if you already have an account created, you would just go here and log in. If you do not have an account yet, you would click on not enrolled yet, and it directs you to this form. And these two, this property owner name and PIN number section, this is where you're going to enter the information that the city has provided you. We call those the credentials. All the other spaces are areas that you just fill in. Since I already have an account, I'm just going to go ahead and log in. So give me 1 second. Okay, so now I'm logged in and I'm gonna go to owner portal. If you have just one property under your account, it automatically populates it with those units. If you have multiple properties, this is where you'd click on this drop down and you would select which property address you're gonna register. But in this case, I just have one property, so it just populated. So I'm gonna go down this list of units and register each one just to give you an example of how it can be done. The first is, I'm gonna say unit number 1 over here is still vacant. So for this one, I'm just gonna go over here and register as no change. It's gonna ask me to confirm the information. I'm gonna say yes, register as no change. And then this is a summary. If you've had multiple registrations, since this is our 6th year of requiring owners to register, your history could possibly have 6 or more, depending on how many times you're coming to the system. So, okay, unit number 1 is fine. I'm gonna go back to the main page. I'm gonna register the next one as a rent increase. So I'm gonna click on the rent increase decrease button. I'm gonna go over here and I am going to say rent has gone to $16.50. You also need to put when that date or when that rent became effective. And I'm going to say it was January 1 of 2024. These other fields, you can change them if they've changed since your last registration, but typically we find that those stay the same. This rental assistant voucher, that's referring to whether a tenant receives Section 8. So let's say they do, you would select it as yes, but in this case, we're gonna say no, they're just getting a rent increase. We're gonna click submit. And then the nice thing too is that it will actually show you over here the percent increased. And so here you could see that the system calculated the percentage of increase as 3.13. If the increase had gone over 5%, which I'll show you at the end, it will flag it as red. And actually you'll even get a pop-up message saying that the increase is above the allowable 5%. Because as a reminder, apartments that fall under the apartment rent ordinance, which are apartment buildings built before 1979, they have a cap, a rent increase cap of 5% once every 12 months. So make sure that you're not going over your 5%. And let me go back to the main page. Let's see. So we'll go to unit number 3, and we're going to say that this unit has a new tenant. Also, this summary here isn't as detailed. If you want to see more detail, such as maybe you don't remember who's in unit number 3 or you would registered last to be in unit number 3, you can click on unit summary and it's going to give you more information. So in this summary, I can say, oh, okay, Vivian at the last registration was occupying this unit. She's no longer there, so I need to make an update and say that there's been a new tenant. So you're going to go to vacancy reason for last tenant. So why did Vivian move out? There are options that are numbered 1 through 13, and that correlates with our tenant protection ordinance, which says you must provide a just cause reason when you terminate a tenancy. So if it's a voluntary move out, you don't have to provide the city with a copy of anything or of a notice provided to tenant. But if you did, you have a little reminder. So I'm going to say Vivian moved out due to non-payment of rent. And I'm going to put her move out day as, I'll just say September 1 of 2024. And then I'm going to say a new tenant moved in October 2024. And then the rest of the information is going to be related to the new tenant. So the new tenant's paying, I'm going to just say 1890, effective date of rent. Since they just moved in, it's going to be the same date as their move-in date. And then I'm just gonna say test. You can list up to 3 tenant names here, but you're only required to do at least 1. Here's where you're gonna say how much they paid in security deposit. And I'm just gonna put 300. And then here you're gonna respond yes or no to whether they receive a Section 8 voucher, and I'm gonna put yes here. Services included in rent. I know there are many services that are provided to tenants, but the three that this system captures are whether they have access to a laundry. So it doesn't mean that it has to be in their unit. It could just be on the property. Is there a, laundry room? So any type of laundry access on the property for that tenant. There's also whether they have storage or a pool. And then there's a combination of those options depending on how many, or we're gonna put in this case though, that, well, I'm gonna put none, that they don't have any of those options. Number of parking spaces included in rent, excuse me, yes, this tenant gets one parking space and hasn't changed, it's still one bedroom, so I'm gonna go ahead and click submit. This is that pop-up that I was referring to, that it says upon serving a tenant with an eviction notice, you must submit a copy of that notice to terminate tenancy to the city's housing department. So very important to do that. So that's why there's that reminder there. I'm gonna hit OK, and the registration for that unit is complete. I have a chance here to review it. Everything looks good. I'm gonna go back to the main page. Okay, unit number 4, it was occupied at my last registration, but it is now vacant. So I'm going to register it as vacant. I'm going to get the same questions kind of that I had for the change in tenancy. It's going to ask me, why did that person vacate? In this case, I am going to say that, let's see, I got to move that over. I'm going to say it was a voluntary move out. So when you do click on voluntary move out, you do get some additional questions. And these are to capture whether a tenant moved out voluntarily, but was it due to a notice that they had received? So maybe you didn't tell the tenant they had to move out, but they were starting to get notices of non-payment or violating the lease in some other way. So let's say this tenant voluntarily moved out, right? They left on their own, but you did issue them a notice to pay rent. And so this question is, did the tenant receive a notice to pay or quit? You're going to say yes. And then another question, did the tenant receive any other type of notice? So you could have other violations, right? Such as noise and other violations. So I'm just going to put no for that one. And then here for additional information regarding this notice or move out, you can add additional information such as, we could say tenant missed 2 months rent. And then you're going to put out the move out date. So we're just going to say this tenant moved out. Another October move out. And okay. Okay, got 2 more units to go. So for unit number 5, it was vacant, but now it is owner occupied. So we're gonna do that. And we're gonna put in the owner's move-in date. And I'm gonna hit submit. Okay. And then last one, I'm going to show you how to use correct and error, which is this button over here. So first though, I need to make a change. So I'm going to say in this case, this person received a rent increase. And I'm going to say they are at 2,000 now. And okay. So as you can see, putting 2,000 let me know that the rent increase from 1,800 to 2,000 goes above the allowable 5%. But let's just say I continued anyway. And the summary is also another reminder, it's in red, it's saying, hey, you increased at 11.11%. And I look at my note, my records, and I say, oh, you know what, I messed up. That's the incorrect rent increase. I need to correct that. I can go here to correct an error. And it's just telling this pop-up is just saying this is for only your last registration is where you can correct something. So I'm going to go back here and say it was actually 1875, not 2000. And the move or the effective date is still the same. Once you click update, you can see it changed my rent increase to 1875, and then the percentage of increase is now 4.17. And so that was how you use correct and error. Again, it's only useful on your last registration. So let's say I also look down and I say, oh, my registration in 2023 was incorrect. You'll need to contact the city and get staff assistance making any changes to an old registration, because this correct and error button is only useful on your last registration. So I can go back here and I can see I no longer have any blue register buttons, which means that I have completed my registration of this property. You will also get an email confirmation saying that you've completed your registration. But if you have any doubts, you can always contact our department for staff confirmation. I'm going to return to the PowerPoint and just remind folks that that the in-person assistance is available. We have staff available at the office Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, to help you with your registration, but we are also hosting 2 in-person workshops. There is no registration required for attending, meaning you can just show up. We have 2 sessions. One is October 16th, 9 to 11. Another session is 1:30 to 3:30. And then same time, but the second session is on November 13th. Again, no pre-registration is required. Just show up within any of those sessions. We do ask, though, that you come prepared with the most current rental information for each of your units, because we can't leave any of the registration fields blank. The system won't allow a registration if not all fields have data. So just come with the information needed to make any changes to the units. And let's see, I want to now open it up to questions. And let me take a look to see. Okay, and I do actually see some raised hands too. And let me see if I can figure out that feature. But let me first go to Q&A. Okay, so there are no open questions there. Let me see if, and I apologize if I don't do this correctly. Let me see if I can allow for hand raised questions. Okay, so I can. So Perla, I'm gonna go to you and I'm gonna allow you to talk. Hopefully this works out okay. Let's see, Perla, can you hear us? Oh, let me see. Actually, I think I have to ask to unmute. Perla, I can unmute you if you'd like to. Oh, there you go.
Unmute.
There you go. Hi, Perla.
I have basically 2 questions.
Sure.
On the rent increase, what if the increase is more than 5% per the rent roll? It is what it is, right? Because I'm basing it from the most recent rent roll. What should we do? Just leave it like that?
If a tenant has been given a rent increase above 5%, so let me just start off by saying that a tenant living in a unit that's under the apartment rent ordinance always has the option to submit a petition form with our program. It's kind of like a complaint form. It's where a tenant can say, hey, I was given a rent increase that's
Yeah.
goes against the
Okay.
ordinance. But the other option, if you want to be proactive about it, would be to adjust the tenant's rent to a rent amount that doesn't exceed 5%. And then what I see most commonly happen is that the tenant will get a credit for any overpayment that they made in the past.
Yeah, but usually these were already implemented and not with no tenant complaints. The effective date is already a few months ago. So if they don't have any complaints, then they're okay with it. We can't do anything. I don't want to manipulate the rent roll and adjust the rents just to go below 5% or be at 5%.
Well, you know,
anyway, mine, all the City of San Jose properties we have, I already turned them in. I already completed the rent registry. So,
okay.
Even prior years, we have some tenants that are exceeding 5%, and we didn't hear anything from you guys. So I guess I leave it like that since it was already submitted. The second question I have is that is there any fee associated with this registration?
No, there's no
No.
separate fee.
Oh,
Annually, you're already paying a program fee that is attached to your permit fee.
oh,
So yeah, so any fees that are associated to the rent registry are
mhm.
would be calculated into your annual program fee.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's the
Okay.
difference between City of San Jose and City of LA.
Okay. Yeah, that you're right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Well, thank you.
thank you for that.
Thank you, Perla.
Okay.
Okay, next we'll go to Marco. I'm gonna click allow to talk.
Hey, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Thanks for having this. It was really helpful.
Oh,
And just so
thanks.
you know, the Q&A is turned off, which is why no one's
Oh,
writing their questions.
oh, thank you for letting me know that.
Yeah, no problem. So a couple questions based on this website. So I saw you go through and update this for your 6 like pretend units.
Mm-hmm.
Um, for a property that has 330 or more units, this
Mm-hmm.
obviously takes a lot more time.
Yeah.
And the information that we're entering is on the rent roll. So
Mm-hmm.
if we can upload this information in Excel, it takes a lot less staff time and a lot less cost to do this. Um, when we go to pull down the information that's there from Excel, it says that the templates are temporarily unavailable. The system is currently undergoing maintenance. We are actively working to restore it and expect the feature to be available soon and apologize for any inconvenience.
Yeah.
Do we know when that will be back up and will it be before the deadline?
It will be before the deadline. In fact, I think it was just yesterday that IT gave me an update letting me know that they figured out the issue.
Okay.
Yeah. So if let's see, I'm wondering if, yeah, I can let you know if you want to, if you could email, sorry to like have you do another step, but if you could email the rent registry at, rentregistry@sanjoseca.gov, and just ask to be informed when the Excel sheet is available, I would be happy to do that. And so that way you're not having to continually check. Have you used the Excel in the past?
This will be our first time doing
Okay.
it because this is actually, we acquired the property in 2023.
Okay.
And that brings me to my second question,
Uh-huh.
which is when there's been a change in ownership,
Mm-hmm.
we have records from prior rent rolls of
Mm-hmm.
most of this information, not all of it. What do you
Mm-hmm.
recommend when there's been a change in ownership? And
Yeah.
not all of this information is necessarily available.
Yeah. In those cases, we just say complete it to the best of your ability. And you can't, if you leave any fields blank, let's say you don't have their initial move-in date or something, you're just gonna have to put your best guess because the system won't accept a registration with any missing data. So yeah, we just ask that you just, do your best and put the information. Some owners will go to their tenant and ask them, hey, I don't have this information. Do you remember when your last rent increase was or this or that? So that's an option too, but yeah, you're not
Okay.
the only person that's had this issue before. And
And then last thing
mhm,
with the
mhm.
Excel template, is it possible to upload the data as a template or do you still have to go in and click one box at a
Exactly.
time and
Yeah.
type it
And
in?
that's what I was gonna, that's was gonna be my next question is, the Excel template still requires you to click on it.
Manually, one at a
Exactly.
time.
So another frequent question that we get is, can we upload the spreadsheets from whatever system you're using, and the answer is no, it has to be manually inputted also in the Excel.
Is that something you all could consider maybe for future years, just in terms of
I
how
think
much
it's
time
some
this takes of landlords?
Yeah, it's been brought up often and the answer has been no for the past 6 years. Perhaps if we were using a different platform, we use Salesforce. for our rent registry, and currently that platform isn't set up to accept other formats. The system just wouldn't know how to read each type of software out there. Which is why we're limited to the Excel, but it's something I think we consider every year, and I'll keep it, as something that I bring up during our meetings, when we look at future upgrades.
Okay.
All right, thank you. I want to apologize again that the Q&A is not working. I'll have to look into that. I did check it, and it looks like the features are all available, so I'm not sure what's happening, but I do apologize for that. For anyone that's trying to that doesn't want to speak, during this live webinar, please email or call us, and we'll be happy to assist you. Feng Nguyen, feel free to ask your question.
Hello.
Hi, good morning.
Yes, good morning. Yes, I have the question because so far right now, when we try to increase the rents, because every year we try to increase the rent a little bit. I already submit the rent request for increase in May. So it should be process the paper in about the August. Somehow I go to housing to double check, and they say because the new system, right now they have the new system with the website, so maybe a little bit late. I wait until right now it's October. I didn't receive any paper they sent out for me, and I try to go to the new website in order to update for the rent request to increase. The trouble I have is they already have my application to request in May. They didn't respond for me. Do I should to reapply again right now? Otherwise they will be confused. So I try my best in order to go on the website, the new website, in order to do the paperwork. When we upload the document, it's not allowed for upload the document, the letter for request. So I don't know what to do right now. It stopped, and I call the housing. They cannot help.
Oh gosh. Unfortunately, we don't work with the housing authority. I don't even know their system or anything. The Section 8's gone, that's through the county, and since we're the city of San Jose, we just don't take part in the Section 8 process. What I can say about the rent registry is that if the rent has not changed yet, just register it now as a no change. And then when you are able to implement that rent increase, you can sign back into your account and make an update. Because you are required to register in the rent registry during a 60-day period every year, but you can return outside of the 60-day window and make updates also. But it's just making sure that you register during the registration period. So if I were you, I would register that particular unit with a no change.
I already update with change on the owner portal already. So I already update the new rent because I think they will be processed, but until right now they didn't process. So do I should to correct it if no change? So I already updated before the webinar.
Oh, I see. Yeah, you know what? If it turns out that the rent increase doesn't go into effect when you had anticipated, you can go back and do correct an error and change it to the date that it did go into effect. That's okay. Yeah, you can go back and correct that one. Should the date.
So just correct the error. So
Yeah.
click on correct the error, and we say it's no change, right?
Exactly. You can just
Okay.
put that you can go back to the original one and just say there's no change.
No change. Okay. So because right now I try to change it, but I cannot. So I don't know what I have to do right now.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, sorry about that. Oops. Let me just stop sharing for a second.
So after we correct the error, so we just close it, right? We don't need to be updated, right?
I'm sorry, say that again after.
So after we go back to correct the current rent, so we just left like that, or we have to update. Okay, sure.
Yeah.
I
you can look at
correct,
like-
yes, I correct it right now in order because it no change until the housing is approved for change.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, thank
Okay,
you.
no problem. Let's see. Let's see. Perla. Oops, sorry. Perla, did you have another question, or maybe I forgot to lower your hand?
No, you already answered my question.
Okay.
I only had two.
Okay, I'll lower your hand then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm.
All right, thank you. Okay, it looks like we have another question. Let's see. Is it Margarita? Feel free to
Hi.
ask your question. Hi.
Hello. Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
So
Mhm.
I had a question. So I'm in Contra Costa County. I was told to take this webinar. I'm not too sure if Contra Costa County has their own registration times, or do we have to do that? It's with HOA. They're privately owned condominiums. Am I supposed to be in this class or in this?
No.
Okay.
No, I'm so sorry. Yeah, this only applies to the city of San Jose, and it's only for apartments. Condos
Okay.
don't qualify for the registration. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. I just want to make sure. All right. Thank you for
Yeah.
your time. This is very informative. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Great. Let's see. Okay, well, that concludes this webinar. Any additional questions, you can email Rent Registry at sanjoseca.gov. Our phone number is 408-975-4480. Again, the registration period ends November 30th, and anything else we can do, just give us a call or email. Thank you, everyone.